Hi, everybody. Welcome to WCAX. This is our live desk streaming show, kicking off every day just around 9:15. I just want to get in the horn today. Today is day one of the Democratic National Convention. A lot of people waking up there, especially our delegates from Vermont. That one of those being Ms. Molly Moore. She's a Vermont delegate from East Haven, Vermont. Molly, good morning. I know you had you on the morning show this morning, but just wanted to touch back again ahead of your duties today. So first of all, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, John. Good to see you again.
Yeah. And kind of jumping right into it, for people who are unfamiliar with how this process works, what are your responsibilities going into this week as a delegate at the DNC?
Absolutely. So earlier this August, we had a virtual roll call, and that is to nominate Kamala and Tim Walz to be on our ticket for the general election. Usually this happens at the convention live, but because of Ohio laws and rulings, we just want to make sure we got it out of the way. So what we'll do today is ceremoniously do the roll call and have Kamala accept the roll call. And then basically for our duties beyond that, we participate in caucuses and councils. I'm part of the Women's Caucus and the Rural Council. We'll talk about issues and how we want to build our platform. But beyond kind of the official duties, we have a lot of really exciting floor speeches. We're going to hear from Joe Biden, Obama, Michelle Obama, and of course, Kamala and Tim Walz.
Absolutely. And, heading into this week, this event specifically, what was that selection process like for you as a delegate yourself?
Absolutely. So the way that we select delegates is we have a state convention where we towns send delegates from, with each town that has a Democratic committee sends delegates, and basically people run and you give a short speech. I give about a 2-minute speech. This was earlier this spring, and about 400 state delegates voted for the dozen or so of us that are district level delegates. That's what I am. We also have a couple of other different kinds of delegates. We have our congressional delegates, which include Congresswoman Becca Balint, Senator Sanders, Senator Welch, and then we have 3 at-large delegates, which were voted on by the district level delegates. So we got together, the 12 or 14 of us, and voted on those 3.
Absolutely. And then as far as I heard that break it down a little bit more, but is the super delegate versus just the normal delegate yourself? What's the difference there?
Yeah, so especially when it comes to like how things are normally done when it comes to a convention that has multiple different nominee possibilities. That's kind of when the breakdown of super delegate and other delegates comes in more relevantly. But I think that for our purposes, we have there's not really a distinguisher between super delegate and a normal delegate at this level. Yeah. Those super delegates would usually be considered like our congressional delegates or people that we get from our at-large process.
Absolutely. And then as far as heading into today, I know you probably just recently got to Chicago as well. A lot of anticipation going into the DNC. What's that temperature like there? Heading into the first day today. Yeah,
absolutely. There's like a very tangible energy in the air. Everyone's having so much fun. Last night we had an incredible welcome party at the Navy Pier. We got to see Nancy Pelosi, and then we went to there was another welcome concert with Natasha Bedingfield. There's so much excitement in the air, and I think the main feeling is this feeling of momentum that we had since Kamala was pushed to the top of the ticket, since Tim Walz has joined on. It feels like we're really kind of snowballing into something really exciting. And I think a large purpose of this convention is to really keep that energy up and to bring that energy into the next couple of months, into the fall and into the election.
Absolutely. And I hate to backtrack here just a little bit, but
sure.
As far as delegates, who they voted for as well, I know there's obviously with the somewhat now recent shakeup from Joe Biden dropping out to Kamala Harris. What's the vote look like as far as
totally? So there's pledged delegates and unpledged delegates. And so when I ran earlier in the spring, Joe Biden was still the presumptive nominee. So I was a Joe Biden delegate, as were most of us. I think actually all of us were pledged Biden delegates. And so what that process looked like was when we got the phone call, I got a phone call from the chair of the Vermont Democratic Party right after we got the news that Biden had dropped out, telling us that we were unpledged. So at that point, we could have voted for anyone. The table is completely open. And so a lot of us like took that in. We saw that Kamala was going to be the next kind of presumptive nominee. I took in the information. I waited a couple of a day or two, really processed it because I wanted to see if there was going to be an open field or see if anyone else was going to put up against Kamala. No one did in the days following, and so we got together as a delegation and unanimously pledged our support for Kamala. And so that's what that looks like now. And then so when we did the roll call just earlier in August, we went through with our pledge and put Kamala forward as the nominee.
Absolutely. And then, outside of this, now I guess, moving past this week, especially as you're looking at your role as a delegate, what does that look like as far as down the line caucuses and the like?
Sure. So, like, caucuses will continue to meet over Zoom, virtually, and looking at like kind of what the future of that looks like. A large part of what being a delegate means is unofficial. It means that we're going back home to our communities and really bringing this message forward that we have a ticket here that is fighting for the people, and like that is a large part of our responsibilities as delegates, is to bring that messaging home and to really rally our people around this incredible ticket.
Absolutely. Molly Moore, thanks for shedding some light on some stuff. I know a lot of people, as far as this process goes, may not be a little bit unfamiliar. But
it can be really complicated.
Yeah. Yeah, but thanks for shining light on that. So we appreciate it. I'll let you go.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, John.
Rest of your morning. That was Molly Moore. She is one of the Vermont delegates at the DNC, currently in Chicago, and from East Haven, Vermont, as well. And just as more of a precursor, our Calvin Cutler is in Chicago this week. He'll be at the DNC doing coverage for us from as well. So no weather today as far as WCA Extra goes. There's some technical difficulties on Peter's side. But again, we'll have more coverage of the DNC throughout this week. So be sure to stick with us then. I think that does it for us here. Thanks you guys for tuning in. Of course, we'll let you guys go on with your morning. And again, for that weather coverage, and the DNC especially, you can go to WCAX.com and see us on our noon show. So I think with that in mind, let you guys go and get on with your day.